Is Robert Almy. I'm the chair of the Board of Public Works. This meeting of October 24th, 2024 of the Public Works Board is being recorded. I'll now call the meeting to order with a roll call. Commissioner Alves?
Aye.
The chair is here. We have a quorum of 2. Our first order of business is to approve and accept warrants. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve and accept the warrants for bills payable period ending September 30th and October 7th, 15th, and 21st of 2024.
Motion by Mr. Alves. Chair seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Alves votes aye. Chair votes aye. Next item is to approve and accept payrolls.
I'll make a motion to approve and accept the payrolls for the weeks ending September 21st and 28th and October 5th, 12th, and 19th, 2024.
Commissioner Alves moves approval of payrolls. The chair seconds the motion. Mr. Alves, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Item is approved. Next item is on the agenda is to approve and accept the meeting minutes from September 19th, 2024. Mr. Alves, you had to leave before the end of that meeting, so I think we'll defer this item until our next meeting.
Very good.
Next item on the agenda is old business. A, update, Weston and Sampson efficiency study.
Rob, the Weston and Sampson wasn't ready to present for today, and we discussed to move this meeting, this presentation to the November meeting, as they're working on a presentation.
All right, do we have a preliminary date for that November meeting?
Yeah, the preliminary date would be the 21st of November at this time.
All right, you're sure that's not Thanksgiving? Just checking.
I'm sure Thanksgiving is on November 28th this year.
All right. All right, so moving to the next item is discussion of Granite City crushing. I notice on the agenda, this item is listed for discussion. So we can review the item, but we're not in a position to take action since the agenda did not indicate any actual action by the board. Tim?
Sure. Just a review of past actions on August 22nd. Granite City Crushing completed work within the right of way and was sent a letter of violation, including fines. These fines were paid and a permit was pulled after the fact. At this time, there have been no scheduled inspections for that work that was completed within the right of way. At the board meeting on August 29th, the board asked me to work with Granite City Crushing and Manny Soares to ensure they get all the information to move forward. An email was sent on August 30th, documenting the outline of what was needed to move forward, as well as any documents that were outstanding. To date, these documents haven't been completed, or they weren't completed, and on October 9th, the partner of Granite City, who is one of the owners of the property, had sent an email to me that I didn't see, stating that Manny would be scheduling a wet tap on the water main for the following Tuesday, October 15th. Just remind you, none of the requirements, inspection fees, pre-construction meeting for this site was ever scheduled. That was documented in the email on the 30th. Granite City Crushing did proceed and tap the water main on October 15th. We had sent Paul Pacheco and Paul Duarte to stop this work, but unfortunately the tap was already completed. And I spoke to John Bobonic, the partner and part owner, and he said he was gonna make sure that everything was taken care of. Following up with that, he paid the inspection fees and filled out the inspection fee. And we worked on scheduling a pre-construction meeting. In the meantime, Granite City Crushing continued to install water main in violation of the water regulations and policies. So on Tuesday, October 22nd, I sent a violation notice to Granite City Crushing as well as First Dartmouth LLC, which is the partner, John Bobonic. This carries a potential fine of $300, as well as $300 per day that the violator continues knowingly to violate the rules and regulations. A pre-construction meeting was scheduled and held yesterday at the site at yesterday morning at 10 a.m. It was attended well by the co-administrators of the town, the building commissioner, special counsel for the town, my senior engineer, water division superintendent, as well as their counsel, First Dartmouth LLC personnel, John Bobonic and Dean Bobonic, as well as Manny Soares of Granite City Crushing. The meeting was highly volatile. Didn't get much accomplished, but we did lay down what was required moving forward and how to schedule inspections. Today they have scheduled inspections for the rest of the week, and yeah, that's my update for the board at this time.
Mr. House, do you have any questions?
Yes, just, I guess because all these violations and everybody did work without any inspections on site.
Correct.
How do you proceed to move forward do you have to reopen the hole to re-inspect what he's done?
Correct.
And everybody's in agreement with that? Or this is a volatile situation here?
It's only volatile. I mean, so the property owner and partner agrees to open the hole and re-inspect anything that's been backfilled.
Yeah, but the problem is right now in the first phase of the job that he's done, which Mr. Soares has done plenty of work here before in town. He knows the regulation. When we were informed about it, Paul called me up to take a ride down there, and I went down there. He was very combative. He kept stating to us, which we were in there very long, so I knew it was going to go combative, that we had no jurisdiction on the water main inspection. It was the ZBA and the zoning commissioner. But the problem is now the first phase of work that he did, we require that happens to be pressure tested. Now there's no way to pressure test that tap sleeve now because the cut has been made. So that's one extreme violation of our rules and regulations that we've had in place for years. Like I said, Mr. Soares has done plenty of work here in town, and it continues to be always like this. To me, he illegally tapped out water main. And it should be treated as though that it was a legal connection. And now we can look at the water main, we can look at the tap, but a visual is not going to confirm that tap sleeve is not going to leak. And that's why we pressure test them before we make the cut.
And typically our inspectors are also on site during the construction to watch the main be constructed. So at this time, it's just a visual that it's in the trench. Yeah.
So how do you proceed with that, Tim? Because he's in violation and he knows better because he's been in construction forever more since I know him.
Yep.
So what do you do now? What's your recommendation, Tim? I know we can't.
Yeah.
Can we not make a recommendation, Bob?
Well, we can make a recommendation. We can't the board can't take action.
Well, Tim could take action though, can he not, as the DPW director?
Well, yes, I believe so. So Tim, I have a suggestion. and that is get in writing from town council, if possible, an explicit statement about the department's authority in this case. All right, and because if we are going to take actions, I presume that there'll be some question, as has already been raised, about who in the town has jurisdiction here. So I think if you can convince the town administrator to get, it can be pretty short, an explicit statement about the department's authority here and responsibility, then I think that would help support whatever action you as the department head believe is appropriate.
Okay.
And I think that clearly, based on the conversation here and at our last meeting, the board believes that and trusts you to do the right thing here. And I think it would be good for you to come back at our next meeting and give us another status report.
Correct. Will do.
Rick, do you have any suggestions? I know this kind of stuff you've dealt with in other jurisdictions.
Just, I know he lost his license and we granted his license back subject to paying fees.
Yeah.
Um,
In the past, the board revoked his license in 2012 for similar violations.
how many chances do we keep giving drain layers is the next question, I guess, but.
Right. So I think in the violation for 2012, it was stated that since he didn't respond to the notice in the fines, the board revoked his license.
So he's paid all the inspection fees to date along with the fines to date?
No, so the inspection fees have been paid, the fines, and the letter went out on Tuesday, the 22nd, certified. So I'm waiting for a response from that letter.
All right, so Tim, if you would bring this item back to us at our next meeting, and if you would like or request the board at that time to take action, be sure it's clear in the agenda and in the backup materials what it is you're asking us to do, and give us a good basis for any action.
So Robert, I have another question.
Yeah.
Does the board need to take action on this, or can the DPW director take action on this? He doesn't need our permission.
No, I don't. I agree, but the board could take action to back him up.
So Rob,
Yep.
just a point of clarification. The DPW is full jurisdiction on the water and the sewer line. It's clearly listed in the comprehensive permit for that site. Town council did back that up, Karis, the attorney Karis, she did back that up and made everybody aware that the jurisdiction for water and sewer has to fully comply with our specifications and our policies and our standards. And so there is no gray area. It's written in the comprehensive permit. It was reiterated to Mr. Soers and Mr. Bavanik. Mr. Bavanik was fine and accepted that. Mr. Soers again was combative with that requirement.
Yeah, and that was at your meeting on site, is that correct?
Yesterday morning, yes.
All right. I would suggest that you summarize that meeting in writing in a letter and send it to both the property owner and Mr. Soers. All right, anything else on this item? Yeah, I'm sorry that, Tim, that you and your team need to put up with this. It really is unnecessary. And I hope that we're able to deal with this in a fairly straightforward manner and be done with it. All right. Okay, Anything else in old business?
Nope.
All right, new business, item A, sewer abatement request, Tim.
Okay. 1 second. So I don't see the resident, oh yeah, I do see Mr. McSweeney is present. So a little history on this, um, since the new meter endpoints have been put on, it was noted, it was Mr. McSweeney's meter was read in a higher usage that had been billed, was noted upon research from the water division. They found that for the past 5 years, the usage was not billed. Only a minimum bill was billed to Mr. McSweeney. So when they found this, they calculated the total bill for those 5 years, but decided that it's in the policies that in the water division policy that we can go back 2 years to bill for any errors. So the water division and utility billing clerk sent out a bill for the past 2 years of use. Also, Mr. McSweeney had requested an abatement. So an abatement was also awarded at this time so the total bill was $2,577.70. An abatement was given for $1,721.78, and then a bill of $855.92. Mr. McSweeney has requested further abatement, and the water division concluded that during this billing period, the new bill that was created did not subtract any of the minimum billing that had been billed for the past 4 quarters to Mr. McSweeney. So we are recommending a new abatement of the minimum billing for $279.92 be approved by the board.
Rick, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just one, I guess. It appears that there's been errors on top of errors here. Is that why the bill went from 2577 down to 279?
No, to 576 would be the total.
What's that? I'm sorry.
The total would be $576. The 279 was the second abatement. It's the abatement off the new bill of the rebilling of the minimum bill. So yeah, for some reason, the utility billing from town hall did not bill any of the usage for the past 5 years. And that was an error. Yep, on the town's part.
And we can only go back 2 years.
We can only go back 2 years, yes.
What's your recommendation, Tim?
I recommend to abate the rebilling of the minimum bill. Because we did abate a certain amount, but they didn't take into consideration that he had already been billed and paid the minimum bills for the past. He's paid the minimum bill for the past 5 years already.
Mr. McSweeney, do you have anything you want to add?
He's on, but he's
Yeah, I see that he's on. Okay, you need to take your mute off. There you go.
Mr. McSweeney, are you available? Okay.
Tim, we've done this before, Tim?
Yes, we have.
Okay. I'll keep it simple then. I'll make a motion to approve the sewer abatement request for 1406 Tucker Road.
Commissioner Alves moves approval of the abatement. The chair seconds the motion. Before we actually take action, Mr. McSweeney, your screen is not on and we can't hear you. So I have no indication of whether you're comfortable with the proposed action here.
I would recommend that he logs out and logs back in. I think he's having issues with his equipment.
All right. Okay, I see a new indication on the screen. Right, I think while Mr. McSweeney is working out the technical details of participating, Rick, I'll take a motion to defer this item to later in the agenda.
I'll make a motion to defer this item to later in the agenda of the sewer abatement request for 1406 Tucker Road.
We have a motion to defer the item until later in the agenda. The chair seconds. Mr. Alves, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Alves votes aye. Chair votes aye. We'll defer this and give Mr. McSweeney a chance to come back to us. On the table, we have a motion and a second to approve the abatement. All right, so when we come back, that's where we'll start. Next item is to approve a renewal of a contract for CDM Smith. Tim?
Yes, this contract is a renewal to continue working with CDM Smith as they analyze any sampling from the capped landfill, as well as complete inspections of the capped landfill and the transfer station, and report them to the state, to Mass DEP. And this contract is for $17,900 for FY25.
All right, any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Alves?
I'll make a motion to approve the renewal of contracts to CDM Smith Environmental Monitoring, Reporting, and Landfill Transfer Station Inspections for FY 2025 for the total amount of $17,900 not to exceed.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alves. The chair seconds. All in favor, Mr. Alves?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Item is approved. Item C, approval of contract with Weston and Sampson.
This contract is an amendment of the water meter system upgrade. It's amendment number 2. So in the meters have been substantially completed, and moving forward to move from biannual billing to quarterly billing, Weston and Sampson is looking to bring in another professional party to complete this work. The total for the amendment is $27,500, which is within the budget of the project. The only issue with the contract, bring to light in the scope, it does state that they will assist the town with moving to monthly billing, which at this time we are not planning to move to monthly billing is just quarterly billing. I did bring this to their attention. Their professional engineer that approved these contracts is out of town at the moment, so I will have them edit that and send a revision for a signature.
Tim, is there any reason that this item needs to happen today?
Well, because we're trying to bring this professional company on to move this to quarterly billing by July of 2025, the sooner the better to get all the bugs worked out and get this working.
How does Weston and Sampson have anything to do with billing? Isn't that the treasurer's?
So through the project scope, we're with updating all of the endpoints of the meters. They designed the project, and they are looking to bring a subcontractor to assist the town in moving that. So they're not going to be doing the billing; they're just going to assist us with the programming in getting the billing moved from biannually to quarterly.
I still don't see how the engineering firm has anything to do with billing biannually to quarterly. And I don't follow that. I need a better explanation than that one. Engineering firm doesn't need to assist somebody on sending out bills to the public. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know.
So Rayburn Consulting is a subcontractor that they were bringing on to complete this, to complete the last phase of this project. And they're looking to, conduct discovery meeting to review the, existing standard operating procedures and discuss implementing of the quarterly billing, provide, SOPs of all billing procedures with Munis, Beacon, AMA software, the meter sync, and the mass meter replacement file, and then provide guidance during the transition.
So we're hiring Munis instead of the engineers, right? Why do we need the engineers versus hiring Munis to help us assist with billing?
We're hiring Rayburn
And who is he?
Consulting. I guess they deal with Munis and billing with municipalities.
With Munis. So he works for Munis?
I don't believe he works for Munis.
So shouldn't we hire somebody from Munis for billing versus?
We do work with Munis as well.
So I question why we're not hiring or dealing with Munis over the engineering firm, so.
I can bring that back to the consultant and come back to you with that.
Yeah, Tim, and I'm showing at least 4 places where monthly billing is mentioned, including task 2.5.3, where it says provide guidance and structure for the transition from quarterly billing to monthly billing.
That is correct.
Yeah, I think there's enough ambiguity in the way this is worded right now that you should bring it back to us. And in that case, you'd be able to address
Any
Rick's questions and maybe sort this out a little bit.
I have also another question. Isn't monthly billing a huge expense to the town as well? To send out all those bills to the residents versus we're going from bi to quarterly and now we're talking about monthly? That's a huge extra cost, is it not?
It's an extra cost and it's a lot more work as well.
Yeah, so is it, I don't know.
So
Yeah,
I respectfully disagree with it, but.
We're moving to quarterly billing, not to monthly billing.
Right, but
so-
Which is also more work. It's twice the amount of work, but we do have a number of accounts that are billed quarterly. Any of the commercial accounts and larger meters are billed quarterly currently.
Yeah, Tim, I suggest we'll table this and you can bring it back to us, clean it up a little bit.
All right.
And answer some of Rick's questions. I think this is sort of the end of a very large and expensive project, and it means a lot to cash flow for the department. So I think it's well worth getting it right.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think also in combination with the amount of errors that have been made in billing in the past, you know.
Right,
it's definitely
one of
needed.
which we dealt with earlier.
Correct.
All right, so we will take no action on the Weston Sampson contract, new business item C. I see that Mr. McSweeney is back in the queue. Mr. McSweeney, are you able to address us?
Is my microphone working?
It is now, yes, sir.
Oh, for some reason, I don't use this Zoom app and the microphone was blocked, so I apologize for that.
All right, so hang on, I got a little bit of a bureaucratic thing to deal with. So we'll come back now to item new business A, which we tabled. So we're gonna pick this item back up. Mr. McSweeney, we had a motion on the table with a second to approve the abatement. Were you able to hear the discussion about that?
I was, and I'm fine with the additional abatement. The only question I have, and I discussed this with the town, was I was working with the town on this issue, and they charged me like it's pretty nominal, but a $20 late fee. I was advised to pay the entire balance, including the extra charges, and it can be dealt with at the abatement hearing. So the only additional request I'd have is that you add another $20 to cover I worked in good faith with this back and forth with the town, and that's the only additional item that I have. So that's it.
Tim, how would we deal with this?
I can definitely confirm through discussions with Steve Sullivan that Mr. McSween did work with the town, and he did go and pay the bill.
In fact, it was Steve that advised me about the $20. He said, yeah. So.
Yeah, and once approved by the board, I can refer this to the collector's office.
All right, now, do we need to include reduction of the late fee in the motion?
Yes.
All right, so Rick, you made the motion. Do you want to amend your motion to include reduction of or elimination of the $20 late fee?
Yeah, so added on to my previous motion, I'll make an additional motion for the reduction of the $20 for the late fee.
Commissioner Alves has amended his original motion to include reduction of the late fee. Chair seconds. All right, we have a motion on the table. Mr. Alves, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. So both the abatement and the late fee have been approved. Anything else on this item, Tim?
Nope, that is complete.
Mr. McFeeny, I deeply appreciate your patience on this. I know sometimes bureaucracies take time and can be frustrating. So I'm glad this worked out for you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time as well.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, have a good day.
So now,
You as well.
so we'll come back to our agenda approval to award contract for backwash supply storage tank. Tim?
Okay, so the low bidder for the 579 Old Westport Road was it backwash supply storage tank and the CT contact loop project came in from Dankris Builders for $2,594,600. That is actually $76,600 over our Bristol County Opera award of $2,518,000. But it was definitely within reason. Initially, historically, when we had submitted this project to Bristol County, we had a contingency built in. And the county at that time had in the past voted to not allow contingencies in projects moving forward. So we removed the contingency and this unfortunately went over. I did, however, approach, and the select board and requested this funding from the revenue replacement ARPA, which they did approve on Monday night. So we do have the full funding to move forward with this award.
Any questions from the board? All right, do I have a motion to approve?
So I'll make a motion to approve to award contract for 579 Old Westport Road. Backwash supply storage tank and contact loop to Dankris Builders Corp. For the amount of $2,594,600. With the subject to, well, you said the additional funding of 76,000 was approved by the select board, so but the total amount not to exceed 2.5 and change, right, Mel?
Yes, correct.
Very good.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Alves. Chair seconds the motion. Mr. Alves, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes, Mr. Alves votes aye. Chair votes aye. Item is approved. Next item is to approve a contract with VHB for evaluation and design of replacement water main supports. Tim?
Yes, so this was brought up for discussion at a past board meeting. At that time, we did not have the funding. But I had it on our capital improvement plan for a fall town meeting, and it was approved. So we have the approved funding for this project, and for $72,702 through CIP. So this project includes the evaluation of the existing supports and the design of new supports in traffic management, and bidding this project for a contractor to complete the work.
All right, board members, any questions?
This is just for the design, correct, Tim?
Yes, yes.
Are they also to assist, forgive me for my ignorance here, assist in the bidding process?
They are, yes.
Okay, very good. I have no further questions, Robert.
All right, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve contract VHB evaluation and design of the replacement of water main supports at Reed Road and Hicksville Road bridges over I-195 for the total amount not to exceed $72,702.
We have a motion by Commissioner Alves. Board seconds the motion. Board chairman seconds the motion. Mr. Alves, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Item is approved. Next item is discussion of Santex sewer collection, I'm sorry.
So this is we had hired Stantec to evaluate the sewer collection system and infrastructure, including the treatment capacity for a specific development proposed on Hathaway Roads for 300 units of affordable housing. The evaluation, in a nutshell, came back at the recommendation that section of 8-inch sewer main along Hathaway Road be updated to and replaced with a 10-inch sewer main to comply with the capacity and the flow coming from that development. And further evaluation of the infrastructure stated that the north pumping station does not have sufficient capacity for this flow as well, and recommended an upgrade of that facility. At this time, they've stated that the station does have the capacity, it's the pumps that do not, so an upgrade of pumps in that station was recommended. They evaluated the treatment facility, and they absolutely believe that this will have an effect on the capacity at the treatment facility and predict that we will, with allowing this additional flow, we will exceed the 80% threshold of flow more often than we have been in the past.
Tim, what, do we have a sense of what we can do to mitigate these issues?
So the upgrade, the contractor or the developer is looking for a will serve letter. And in that letter, they will be looking to agree to replace the section of sewer main along Hathaway Road with the recommended size. And this will have to be designed by their engineer for upgrade, approved by us, and then inspected by us. And then further, the pump station upgrades will also have to be designed. At this time, the developer had questioned that, this is also taken on flows from other large developments, and if there was a cost sharing for these upgrades. And at this time, there are other developments that have agreed to costs associated with some upgrades in town, and not specifically for the pump station, or the north pump station, but for the Ellswick pump station, the State Road pump station.
Does the timing of the additional fees and engineering design and construction of the pump station seem to work out so that the capacity of the pump station will be adequate for the new development when it comes online?
I think so. I think they're in the very preliminary stages of design of that site, so I think that can be
and-
accomplished.
What's the daily flow to the wastewater treatment plant expected to be from this project?
Just from this project alone?
The reason I ask is that we went through a process about 10 months ago with the Zoning Board of Appeals and a project that agreed to provide funding for the wastewater treatment plant upgrades. And it was, the agreed to amount was based on the additional flow calculated on the number of units.
Correct. So I'm looking at, so I'm not sure the complete design for the bedrooms at this point, but at 300 units, 2 bedrooms each, for 110 gallons per day for a bedroom. That's about 66,000 gallons per day additional.
So we discussed somewhere between $10 and $12 per gallon as the potential cost of an upgraded or new wastewater treatment facility.
Correct.
So that would put this somewhere between $660,000 and perhaps $800,000, rough round numbers.
Yes, correct. But in addition, that also includes 5 services at an average of about 330 gallons per day. So that would be subtracted from that use because that would be in compliance. the flow that was designed for that site.
Was it designed at the time the wastewater facility was either rebuilt or upgraded? In other words, what's the basis for estimating flow at that site? Has that site been discussed for development, say for 20 or 30 years?
That site was serviced, and the sewer was designed based on the zoning of that parcel along the frontage of Hathaway Road. So based on the frontage, they could allow 5 lots along the frontage of Hathaway Road, which included the 5 services. The back portion wasn't part of the sewer design that I know of.
All right, well, I think we should be consistent with how we treat additional flows. And in order that the developer is not surprised, I think it'd be well worth Public Works' time to sit down and discuss what kind of fees would be required and why, how they would be applied and when they would be collected. And I think you should report back to the board after you've had this discussion with the developer and let us know how it goes.
I will.
Here's a question: should we get a construction estimate to do these recommended upgrades, Tim? So we can look with the future cost? Because 600 feet of 10-inch on Hathaway Road.
640, yeah.
640.
Yeah.
That road's been legally paved, gonna do full overlay, bypass pump because of existing sewers, and then that's the pump station upgrades. I mean, granted, Eisenhower, I think, is a submersible station. I don't know if we could just swap new pumps in there. North Station might be the easiest upgrade, but I'm not sure if Eisenhower is a quick upgrade. At least,
That was also evaluated, and Eisenhower does not have capacity in the well or the wet well or
so we
any
need
other
a full
station.
replacement on that
Correct.
one, right?
Correct, yeah.
So you're talking that one back in mid 2000s. I think it was a couple $100,000 back then, which was a
Yeah.
simple construction. Now with the installation there, I'd probably get up to $500,000 alone, if not more.
Correct.
All right, so Tim, obviously we need some additional detail. I think it's fair that you have at least some confidence in the cost of the upgrades so that the developer can see this coming. They may not like it, but at least if you've told them ahead of time, you're in a position to have discussions about why it's important, and I think it would be well worth bringing this back to the board.
Absolutely. I agree.
I see Stantec said this report's in the package here. They did a very good job so far, Tim.
Yeah, they have.
Very impressive. This is exactly what we need to see what's coming in the future.
Correct.
Yeah, and so I think then the town should do its part in this kind of a discussion and negotiation. Anytime we can do a really good job and be a model for future actions, so much the better. All right, Rick, do you have any comments or questions?
No, you guys already answered or had the same questions I had, so I think it's too early in the stage, but I think communication is extremely important.
Yeah, so Tim, if you could keep us apprised of this project. This is a big project and it's high visibility, and if the department does a really good job with this, it sets a precedent that's going to be good for the future. So, all right, thank you. Anything else on this, Tim?
No, I'll work on some estimates, both on the replacement of the line, repaving of the Hathaway Road, and as well as the upgrades at the North Pump Station to see if we can get a better cost analysis of what this would cost, as well as, a capacity mitigation piece as well for the treatment facility.
Okay. All right, with that, let's move on to committee updates. Tim, Dartmouth Tree Committee.
So I met with Ian Parsons of the Dartmouth Tree Committee to discuss setting up an account in our operating budget for FY 26 for tree planting with an annual budget of about approximately 15 to 20,000 annually. Plus any donations, adopt a tree funds and mitigation funds that they are working out in their bylaw that they plan to submit at Springtown meeting. So they're looking to make sure that there's an operating budget through the town, through the DPW that we could use, as well as any of these other fees go into that as revenue and be used specifically for trees. I think other than fines go into the general fund currently. But any of the, adopt a tree and mitigation funds and donations can also be used.
All right, so Tim, if the department were to place, you said $15,000 to $20,000 into its budget as a recommendation, would that be general fund monies?
Yes, it would.
All right, and so before this goes a whole lot further, I think it'd be worthwhile taking an item to the select board to get their support for spending general fund dollars for tree planting.
Mhm.
I don't think it would be good for the department to simply include this in the budget and then have to talk about it later. I think you need the select board's support for this. And also, I think it would be a good idea to be sure how any donations could be handled through the department, or whether there needs to be some other mechanism for those kinds of revenues. In other words, would that be something that would be better handled by, say, one of the nonprofits that's involved in land preservation?
Mhm.
So,
The town does have, we use gift account for a lot of these funds where, similar to Eversource, when they're gonna work in the road, they supply us with cost sharing mitigation funds for the repair of the road. And it goes into a gift account that we use towards the reconstruction of the road. Also, the Dartmouth Tree Committee has worked with the select board, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet with them. They met with the finance director / acting co-town administrator to discuss this as well. So I plan to meet with them again on it in the future.
okay, but again, I think between now and probably sometime in February, there needs to be a discussion in front of the select board. Particularly if, it's hard to predict how things are gonna go next year, but if budgets
It is.
get tight, this may be something that people are gonna wanna talk about.
Absolutely, I
Hey,
agree.
Rick, do you have any questions?
I do not know.
All right, any comments on this from anyone on the call? All right, moving on to director's update, town meeting.
Fall town meeting was held on October 15th. DPW was quite successful with our capital improvement plan and approvals this year. I can share my screen if you'd like to see the town meeting articles, or I can.
Well, was there any discussion that we should know about, any concerns that people had, or was it simply a matter of answering questions?
It was mostly answering questions, questions on certain equipment, the funding of that equipment, how it's used. There was a good comment from a resident who usually stated that he usually stands up to question the road maintenance funding and how it's being used. But he said with all of the road construction that the town's been doing this year, he doesn't have any questions. And he said the town's been doing a great job, and the DPW has been doing a great job with the roads this year. Other than that, it was mostly, you know, projects and equipment. A lot of our, a number of our road reconstruction projects, were approved for funding, as well as the road maintenance funding. So we're able to move forward with the design for a number of reconstruction projects that include curbing and sidewalk and reconstruction of the road.
I'm sorry I have to say this, Tim, but still no curbing for certain streets in Peyton Arrow.
At this point, no.
Okay,
We are looking to move forward with we're Bridge Street heading from Elm Street to Middle and Middle Street, from Bridge Street to Dartmouth Street, Prospect. We're looking to reconstruct as well with sidewalk and curbing as well. And
okay,
we're about 80% design currently, and we have an estimate on the project, so we're looking to move that forward as well.
all right, good.
And I think what we may choose to, you know, once the design is complete, lay it out so we can reconstruct the road, get the base course down. And then work on the bid for the sidewalk and curbing project at that point.
All right, any questions about town meeting? Tim, next is personnel updates.
So, Jen, Paul, and Derek have been pretty busy this month holding interviews for HMEO positions and SMEO positions, our operators, as we had 2 vacancies in there. So we had, I can bring this up to show. So we have hired, or we're working to hire 3 HMEOs currently and 1 SMEO. I can say that the fight to upgrade the starting pay of these positions is very crucial to hiring these people, because the lower pay grade of the starting step 1 for these positions, I think, you know, people would not even entertain that, but once in the interviews and they're updated that this will be starting at a step 4 at a higher pay for the HMEO positions. It's very promising. Like I said, we have 3 in the works that we're hiring currently, and we have others that we're reaching out to trying to get in. And we have 1 SMEO position that has become very qualified. So I have also requested through HR and the co-town administrators that we look at hiring this position also at a higher step, because starting that position at a lower step will be lower than the HMEO position starting step that we've agreed on. So fortunately, they are expediting this agreement to move forward with this. So it does look promising.
Do we need to change any job descriptions to meet those needs or requirements, Tim?
Not in those 2 currently.
And who approves the job descriptions? Is it you or town administrator? How's that work?
So it's a correlation of all of HR, I think, town administrator, and DPW. So if we needed or recommended any changes in the job description, that would go to HR and the town administrator, and then it would also go to the union. The union also has to agree on any changes. So,
Right, but ultimately it's your decision, correct?
correct.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I like to say something. It's not a matter of like these simple jobs between laborers and drivers and operators. Not any job description. Is a draconic scale system that was developed, I would say 4 or 5 years ago with the prior administrator. That unknowingly, we're competing with every community around here, Mass Highway, private contractors. We went so far backwards, and we can't, it takes an act of Congress to offer, like this last FMEO I interviewed last week, me and Derek and Jennifer, we take the time. He comes with 10 years experience at a municipality already. And we couldn't offer him. And with Timmy's okay, we offer him some competitive salary to start. And we should be allowed to, which we don't have to. We could offer anything we want. And some god in the high mighty chair at town hall could say no, and we're back to square one again.
Well, again, that was my point, Paul. So hopefully we can, if we have some good opportunities, I hate for them to get lost because it's got to go through the protocol as before. And that was a huge, huge problem. And it's still, you know, I still have heartburn over that. So, but anyway.
I see though right now very encouraging between Timmy, the personnel director, the coach, the administrators, and as I told Timmy the other day, that's the way we should have been doing business. Everybody working together with one goal, to getting staff on board to work for the community. And the last week or so, this FMEO thing is very encouraging the way it's been worked out between the people that have to work it out. So I've seen it improving, but it's still a time task. It's a task every day to find help. So.
All right, so let me make a suggestion. We've got a new town administrator coming on board at some point, whether it's somebody we already know or whether it's a new person. It seems to me that during that period of change, the progress you're making now and whatever other ideas would make it better need to be distilled, if you will, and understood at the department level, and then put forward in a way that when the new town administrator is hired, you've got a proposal and a process that may already be in place that makes their job easier. In other words, set them up for success now by describing how you want this stuff done in the future and how it will allow us to hire better people with less effort. All right, that's my suggestion. So, all right, anything else on personnel, Tim?
Nope, that is it.
All right, ARPA update.
So to date, we've been awarded just under $5 million in ARPA funding for DPW projects, which is a great feat. You know, it really, you know, it's really helped out on our budget. And you know, unfortunately, this funding is going away at the end of this year. So, you know, we're up. You know, we've gotten a lot of projects approved, and moving forward, I have approximately $70,000 more waiting for pending approval. It's in review currently, and hopefully we get those projects also approved. I also I requested the additional funding through the revenue replacement at the select board meeting on Monday night for the $76,600 for the 579 Westport Road project, as well as the rate and efficiency project funding, and those are both approved. So moving forward, I think we're in good shape, and you know, we're happy to have this funding.
All right, Tim, I had heard informally that the select board was talking about providing funding for water quality sampling as a result of a discussion from the staff of the public health department. Because we have an interest in sampling surface water through our requirements under phase 2 NPDES for stormwater, I think it would be important to sit down with the public health department and some other interests in town and come up with a surface water sampling program that will meet everyone's needs with one program into the future. We're going to have questions come up, I think, with the comprehensive wastewater management plan about nitrates. And I can see that stormwater questions may come up in the future. And it seems to me that people, well-intentioned people running around the town, grabbing water samples here and there will not advance our knowledge of what's really going on and what's needed to be done. So I urge both the professional staff and other interested parties in sitting down and deciding what makes sense. And maybe we don't have enough money for it all right now, but the discussion ought to happen. And then with whatever resources the select board provides, begin whatever sampling is of highest priority. So that's
Absolutely.
my take on it.
Yeah, I've had discussions with the director of health services and public health, and he agrees, and it was good to see the select board appropriate that money towards the sampling so we can get moving on this as well.
Yeah, this comes under the heading of, we got kind of a wake-up call from the state on nitrates, nitrogen a few years ago. And we need to, continue to pay attention and do the things that we can point to that convinces the state to go help other people rather than to help us.
Absolutely. I agree.
All right. Any other items on ARPA? Okay, Tim.
Nothing on ARPA.
Okay, next is CIP.
So it would just, I guess that was kind of a duplicate of the town meeting that we were approved a large number of our capital improvement projects for FY 26 moving for fall FY 25 and through FY 26. I think we'll have a lot of work to do, and we have some good projects to move forward with. We have equipment, so we'll move forward with working on our capital improvement plans for the FY 26 Springtown meeting as well.
All right, board members, any questions?
I do not.
Next
No.
item, Tim.
I just wanted to let the board know that the town was actually recognized in a paper called the Waste Advantage on October 4th. It's a national paper, I guess, and since the program, the food waste program, the food waste drop-off program has started, at that point we had diverted 7,100 pounds from the Crapo Hill landfill to the food waste program, and it was highly recognized as we see other municipalities haven't had this much success. Even the city, they went from having 2 containers out there to 1 container because they didn't have much use. We went from 2 containers to 3 containers for drop off because it's so highly used in Dartmouth. We started a second round of free startup bins, compostable bags, and counter bins, another 100 units, I believe, and those are almost gone as well. So it's pretty successful.
So people can pick that up at the department?
They can pick that up at the department. Currently, we have a few of them left. And other than that, they would have to reach out to the district to get them after there are no more here of the free startup bins. And we are also moving forward with a curbside program with Black Earth, the same company that picked up our food waste from the transfer station. So they also do curbside, which is at a cost to the residents, and it requires, enough signups, that it's feasible for them to pick up, curbside in Dartmouth. So they're working on a press release that's going out this week, on that as well.
And Tim, is the material picked up and handled by Black Earth
It is. yes,
entirely?
Entirely.
All right. So in other words, once it's out of the town, it's their responsibility.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Board members, any questions?
None.
All right. Tim, anything else for us?
I don't at this time.
All right. I do want to mention, Tim, you indicated that we had a number of engineering firms interested in the comprehensive wastewater management plan development. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so that means that you'll need to be very careful with the communications with those firms. And you may want to talk to your staff about what kinds of communications are appropriate as you move through the scoping and bid process. So everybody's on board with what's okay to say to these companies about what the department's looking for, and we get a clean process on this. All right. Okay. Tim, anything else?
Nope.
Rick, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Commissioner Alves moves to adjourn the meeting. The chairman seconds the motion. Mr. Alves, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next month.